The debate surrounding Archie and Lilibet has exploded once again. But this time, it's not because of a palace statement. It's not because of Prince Harry. And it's not because of Meghan Markle. Instead, the controversy erupted after royal commentator Angela Levin made remarks that immediately sent social media into a frenzy. Within hours, royal fans were arguing across platforms. Supporters defended Harry and Meghan. Critics demanded answers. And commentators everywhere began asking the same question. Why are Archie and Lilibet suddenly at the center of royal headlines again? According to reports, Angela Levin's latest comments reignited long-running discussions about the children's connection to the royal family, their future role in the monarchy, and the growing distance between California and Buckingham Palace. The reaction was immediate. Some royal watchers agreed with Levin's concerns. Others accused her of going too far. But one thing became impossible to ignore. The conversation was no longer quiet. It had become a full-scale royal controversy. Meanwhile, insiders claim senior palace figures are closely watching the public reaction as questions continue growing about the future relationship between Archie, Lilibet, and the institution they were born into. Has Angela Levin revealed something royal fans have been overlooking? Why are her comments creating such a powerful reaction? And what does this growing controversy mean for Harry, Meghan, Archie, and Lilibet moving forward? Because according to many royal observers, this story is about far more than comments made during an interview. It may be about the future of the Sussex family itself. Because according to many royal observers, this story is about far more than comments made during an interview. It may be about the future of the Sussex family itself. The moment Angela Levin's comments began circulating online, the reaction was immediate. Royal discussion forums exploded. Social media timelines filled with debate. And within hours, Archie and Lilibet had become one of the most talked about topics in royal circles. According to commentators, what made Levin's remarks so controversial wasn't simply what she said. It was what her comments implied. Because for years, questions surrounding Archie and Lilibet have existed quietly in the background of the larger Harry and Meghan story. Now, according to observers, those questions have suddenly moved to the center of the conversation. And that's exactly why the reaction has been so intense. Meanwhile, supporters of Harry and Meghan quickly pushed back. They argued that Archie and Lilibet deserve privacy, a normal childhood, and the freedom to grow up away from constant public scrutiny. Many supporters believe the couple made a conscious decision to protect their children from the pressures that traditionally come with royal life. According to that perspective, California offers opportunities that simply would not exist inside the royal system. Opportunities for independence, opportunities for privacy, and opportunities to create their own identity outside royal expectations. But critics see things differently. According to commentators, some royal watchers worry that increasing distance from Britain could gradually weaken the children's connection to their royal heritage. That concern has existed for years. But Angela Levin's remarks reportedly brought it back into the spotlight. And once the discussion began, it spread rapidly. Meanwhile, another issue started generating headlines. Identity. Because according to many observers, Archie and Lilibet occupy a unique position within the modern royal family. They are connected to two very different worlds. One rooted in centuries of royal tradition. The other rooted in a modern American lifestyle far removed from palace life. That unusual situation has fascinated royal fans ever since Harry and Meghan stepped away from royal duties. According to analysts, many people remain curious about how those two worlds will eventually influence the children's future. Will they embrace royal traditions? Will they remain distant from them? Or will they create an entirely different path? Those questions have no clear answers. Yet they continue attracting enormous attention. Meanwhile, Reports suggest that Angela Levin's comments touched on concerns some commentators have privately discussed for years. Concerns about visibility, connection, and long-term relationships within the family. According to royal observers, physical distance can eventually create emotional distance as well. Not always, but sometimes. And many commentators believe that possibility explains why discussions involving Archie and Lilibet often generate such strong reactions. Because beneath the headlines lies a much deeper issue: family connection. Meanwhile, the palace has remained publicly silent. No official response, no statement, and no direct engagement with the controversy. But according to royal analysts, silence itself often becomes part of the story, especially when public debate reaches this level, because every unanswered question tends to generate even more speculation. And that's exactly what happened here. Social media users began examining old interviews, old photographs, and previous public statements involving Harry and Meghan. Some believed they found clues supporting Levin's concerns. Others argued those conclusions were unfair and unsupported. The debate only intensified. Meanwhile, many royal fans started asking a larger question. What role, if any, might Archie and Lilibet eventually play in the future monarchy? Because regardless of current circumstances, they remain part of one of the most famous families in the world. And according to commentators, that reality ensures public interest will continue for years to come. For now, however, the biggest mystery remains unanswered. Why did Angela Levin choose to speak out now? And what specific concern convinced her that this issue deserved renewed attention? Because according to reports, the answer may involve private concerns about the growing gap between the Sussex children and the institution they were born connected to. And if those concerns are accurate, the controversy may be only beginning. Because according to royal commentators, Angela Levin's remarks were not focused on the present. They were focused on the future. A future that many royal observers believe is approaching faster than anyone expected. For years, discussions about Archie and Lilibet have largely centered around childhood. Where they live, how they are being raised, and how much privacy they should receive. But according to Levin's comments, the bigger issue may not be childhood at all. It may be adulthood. Because eventually, Archie and Lilibet will grow up. Eventually, they will begin asking their own questions. And eventually, they will have to decide how they view their relationship with the royal family. According to commentators, that's where the real uncertainty begins. Meanwhile, many royal fans have started focusing on one specific concern: connection. Because unlike previous royal generations, Archie and Lilibet are growing up thousands of miles away from Britain. Thousands of miles away from royal traditions. And thousands of miles away from many family members. According to some observers, distance alone doesn't automatically create problems. Families maintain close relationships across continents all the time. But critics argue that long-term separation can create challenges, especially when public controversies already exist. That concern reportedly formed a major part of the debate surrounding Levin's comments. Meanwhile, supporters of Harry and Meghan strongly disagree. They argue that modern technology allows families to remain connected regardless of geography. Video calls, private visits, and regular communication can all help maintain strong relationships. According to that perspective, location matters far less than commitment. And supporters insist Harry and Meghan remain committed to preserving family connections wherever possible. Yet the discussion continues. Because according to royal analysts, public curiosity surrounding Archie and Lilibet extends beyond ordinary family questions. The children occupy a unique position in history. They belong to one of the world's most famous families. Yet they are being raised largely outside the institution that made that family famous. That unusual reality fascinates royal watchers. And it raises questions nobody can answer yet. Meanwhile, another issue started generating enormous attention after Levin's remarks. Identity. According to commentators, identity becomes increasingly important as children grow older. Especially children connected to multiple cultures, traditions, and expectations. Archie and Lilibet have American experiences, American education, and American surroundings. At the same time, they also have deep connections to British royal history. According to analysts, balancing those influences could become one of the most important challenges they face in the future. Not because either side is wrong, but because both sides represent very different worlds. Meanwhile, reports suggest some royal observers worry that opportunities for deeper family relationships may become harder over time if distance continues growing. Again, these concerns remain speculative. But according to commentators, they help explain why discussions involving Archie and Lilibet often become so emotional. Because many people see the issue through the lens of family rather than politics. Family relationships, family memories, and family bonds. Those themes resonate with people everywhere. Meanwhile, the palace's continued silence has only intensified speculation. No official statement has been released. No direct response has been offered. And according to analysts, that silence allows multiple interpretations to flourish. Supporters view it as appropriate restraint. Critics view it as avoidance. But either way, the lack of clarification keeps the story alive. Meanwhile, social media users continue debating Angela Levin's motives. Some believe she is raising legitimate concerns. Others believe she is unnecessarily creating controversy. And still others argue that both sides are missing the bigger picture entirely. Because according to many observers, the future relationship between Archie, Lilibet, and the royal family may ultimately depend on decisions that haven't even been made yet. Decisions the children themselves will someday make. And that's what makes the story so fascinating. No one truly knows what the future holds. No one knows how Archie and Lilibet will view royal life when they are older. And no one knows what kind of relationship they will choose to build with the institution connected to their family history. For now, however, one thing appears certain. Angela Levin's comments have reignited a debate that was never fully resolved. A debate about family. A debate about identity. And a debate about whether distance today could create consequences tomorrow. But according to reports, an even bigger issue may soon enter the conversation. Because some commentators now believe recent developments inside the royal family could dramatically affect Archie and Lilibet's future in ways few people have considered. And if that's true, this controversy is about to become much bigger than anyone expected. And if that's true, this controversy is about to become much bigger than anyone expected. Because according to royal commentators, the debate surrounding Archie and Lilibet is no longer just about where they live, or how often they visit Britain, or even how closely they remain connected to the royal family. Instead, the discussion is increasingly focusing on something much larger: their future place in royal history. According to observers, recent developments within the monarchy have caused many royal watchers to reconsider what the next generation could look like. King Charles has consistently spoken about a streamlined monarchy, a smaller monarchy, and a more focused monarchy. Those ideas have influenced royal discussions for years. But according to commentators, they suddenly carry new significance when people begin thinking about Archie and Lilibet's long-term future. Because if the monarchy continues evolving in that direction, questions naturally emerge. What role would Archie and Lilibet play? Would they want any role at all? And if they did, What would that role actually look like? Meanwhile, Angela Levin's remarks reportedly touched a nerve because they raised concerns that many royal fans have quietly discussed for years. Not concerns about the present, but concerns about opportunities that may eventually disappear. According to commentators, relationships require maintenance. Family bonds require effort. And connections sometimes become more difficult to rebuild the longer distance remains. Again, supporters of Harry and Meghan strongly reject that argument. They insist the family remains connected through private communication and personal relationships that the public never sees. And to be fair, much of what happens behind closed doors remains unknown. Yet the questions persist. Because according to royal analysts, uncertainty always creates speculation. Meanwhile, another issue began generating enormous attention after Levin's comments spread online. The question of belonging. Because according to observers, Archie and Lilibet are growing up in circumstances unlike almost any royal children before them. They have royal heritage. But they are being raised outside the royal system. They have royal connections. But they are living ordinary aspects of life far removed from palace routines. According to commentators, that combination makes their future uniquely difficult to predict. Some believe they will eventually embrace their royal background. Others believe they will choose an entirely independent path. And many believe the truth will likely fall somewhere in between. Meanwhile, social media continued fueling debate. Supporters argued that Archie and Lilibet should be free to make their own choices without pressure from royal expectations. Critics argued that understanding one's heritage is important and should not be overlooked. Both sides attracted significant support. And according to analysts, that explains why the controversy continues growing. Because people aren't really arguing about titles. They are arguing about identity, family, and legacy. Those issues resonate on a deeply personal level. Meanwhile, reports suggest some palace observers have privately expressed concern about the passage of time. Not because anything dramatic is happening today, but because childhood does not last forever. Every year that passes changes circumstances. Every year creates new experiences. And every year shapes how young people understand the world around them. According to commentators, that's why some royal watchers believe the next decade could prove especially important for Archie and Lilibet. Not because of decisions made by the palace, but because of decisions they will eventually make for themselves. That possibility fascinates royal audiences. Because for all the headlines, speculation, and commentary, the future ultimately belongs to the children themselves. Meanwhile, another factor continues attracting attention. Prince William's future reign. According to analysts, whenever discussions turn toward the next generation of royals, attention naturally shifts toward the future king. Because the monarchy Archie and Lilibet may one day encounter could look very different from the monarchy that exists today. Different priorities, different structures, and perhaps different expectations. According to observers, that uncertainty adds another layer of complexity to an already emotional debate. For now, however, one thing is clear. Angela Levin's comments have reopened questions that many people thought had been settled. Questions about family ties, questions about royal identity, and questions about what happens when two very different worlds continue drifting further apart. But according to reports, the most emotional part of the story may still be ahead. Because some commentators now believe a recent private development involving King Charles has intensified concerns about Archie and Lilibet's future relationship with the family. And if those reports are accurate, the reaction from royal fans could be even bigger than anything we've seen so far. And if those reports are accurate, the reaction from royal fans could be even bigger than anything we've seen so far. Because according to royal commentators, recent discussions involving King Charles have added an entirely new emotional dimension to the Archie and Lilibet debate. For years, most conversations focused on distance, geography, public appearances, and royal titles. But now, according to observers, attention is shifting towards something much more personal: time. Because regardless of politics, public opinion, or royal controversy, one reality cannot be ignored. Time continues moving forward. And according to commentators, that reality has reportedly become increasingly important inside royal circles. Meanwhile, some royal watchers believe King Charles' recent reflections on family, legacy, and the future have intensified concerns about relationships that remain separated by both distance and circumstance. Again, much of this discussion remains speculative. But according to analysts, it explains why conversations involving Archie and Lilibet often generate such emotional reactions. Because many people see the story through the eyes of a grandfather. Not a king. A grandfather. And that perspective changes everything. Meanwhile, supporters of Harry and Meghan argue that private family relationships should remain exactly that: private. They insist the public does not know what conversations take place behind closed doors. The public does not know how often family members communicate. And the public does not know what efforts may already be happening away from media attention. According to that perspective, assumptions about family dynamics are often inaccurate. Many observers agree. Yet public curiosity remains enormous. Because whenever Archie and Lilibet are mentioned, people naturally wonder about their connection to the wider royal family. And according to commentators, that curiosity is unlikely to disappear anytime soon. Meanwhile, another issue has emerged following Angela Levin's remarks: legacy. Because according to royal analysts, every generation eventually inherits more than property or titles. They inherit stories, family history, and a sense of identity. For Archie and Lilibet, that inheritance is unusually complex. On one side stands American life. On the other stands centuries of royal tradition. According to commentators, navigating those two worlds may eventually become one of the most significant challenges they face. Not because either path is wrong, but because both paths come with expectations. Meanwhile, social media debates continued intensifying. Some royal fans insist the children should eventually spend more time in Britain. Others argue that their future should be determined entirely by personal choice. And many believe the most important thing is preserving family relationships regardless of geography. That final argument has gained significant support. Because according to observers, family connection ultimately matters more than public labels, more than headlines, and more than online debates. Meanwhile, reports suggest some commentators worry that opportunities can become harder to recover as years pass. Not impossible, but harder. Relationships require effort. Memories require experiences. And connections often grow strongest through shared time. That concern reportedly forms the foundation of many arguments raised by Levin and other royal observers. Not criticism. Concern. At least according to supporters of that viewpoint. Meanwhile, King Charles remains publicly silent. No official response. No direct comment. And no effort to publicly engage with the growing controversy. But according to analysts, that silence has only increased public fascination. Because every unanswered question creates another theory. Every theory creates another debate. And every debate keeps the story alive. Meanwhile, Prince William's future role continues attracting attention as well. According to commentators, the monarchy Archie and Lilibet encounter 10 years from now may look very different from today's institution. Different leadership. Different priorities. and perhaps different expectations regarding family relationships. That uncertainty makes predictions nearly impossible. Yet it also makes the story endlessly fascinating. Because nobody truly knows what happens next. For now, however, one thing appears certain. Angela Levin's comments have reignited a discussion that reaches far beyond royal gossip. A discussion about family. A discussion about belonging. And a discussion about whether today's decisions could shape tomorrow's relationships in ways nobody fully understands yet. But according to reports, the biggest question remains unanswered. What will Archie and Lilibet themselves decide when they are old enough to choose their own path? Because according to many royal observers, the answer to that question may ultimately determine how this entire story ends. And that answer could surprise everyone. Because after all the headlines, all the debates, and all the commentary surrounding Archie and Lilibet, one simple reality remains. Nobody truly knows what their future will look like. Not Angela Levin. Not royal commentators. Not social media. And not even the palace itself. Because according to many observers, the most important decisions have not yet been made. They belong to Archie and Lilibet. For years, the public conversation has focused on what others want for them. What Harry wants. What Meghan wants. What royal fans want. And what commentators believe should happen. But eventually, those opinions may become secondary. Because one day, Archie and Lilibet will be old enough to decide for themselves what role, if any, they want royal history to play in their lives. According to analysts, that is why the current debate feels so significant. Not because of what is happening today, but because of what may happen tomorrow. Meanwhile, Angela Levin's comments have clearly struck a nerve across the royal world. Supporters argue she is raising legitimate concerns about family connection, heritage, and the long-term impact of distance. Critics argue she is speculating about children whose futures remain unwritten. Both perspectives continue generating passionate debate. And according to observers, that debate is unlikely to disappear anytime soon. Meanwhile, another important point often gets overlooked. Archie and Lilibet are still very young. The public sees headlines. The public sees controversy. But the children themselves are simply growing up. Attending school. Building friendships. Creating memories. And experiencing life in ways that have little to do with royal headlines. According to many commentators, that reality is worth remembering. Because while adults continue debating royal issues, the children remain at the center of a story they did not create. Meanwhile, the future monarchy continues evolving. King Charles continues shaping his reign. Prince William continues preparing for his future role. And the institution itself continues adapting to modern expectations. According to analysts, those changes could significantly influence what options exist years from now. The monarchy Archie and Lilibet encounter, as adults, may be very different from the monarchy people are discussing today. Different leadership. Different priorities. And perhaps different opportunities. That uncertainty makes predictions difficult. Yet it also keeps public fascination alive. Because according to royal observers, the story is not really about titles. It's not really about protocol. And it's not really about royal politics. It's about family. Family relationships. Family identity. And family choices. Those themes resonate with people everywhere, regardless of whether they follow royal news. Meanwhile, King Charles' continued silence has allowed speculation to flourish. No official clarification. No public intervention. And no effort to settle the debate. As a result, commentators continue filling the gaps with their own interpretations. Some hopeful. Some pessimistic. And some deeply emotional. But according to many observers, the ultimate outcome remains impossible to predict. Because families have a remarkable ability to surprise people. Relationships can improve. Distances can shrink. And circumstances can change in ways nobody expects. At the same time, opportunities can also be missed. Connections can weaken. And years can pass more quickly than anyone realizes. That uncertainty sits at the heart of the entire controversy. Meanwhile, royal fans around the world continue asking the same question. What happens next? Will Archie and Lilibet eventually embrace their royal heritage? Will they choose a completely independent path? Or will they create something entirely new that combines both sides of their unique background? For now, nobody knows. And perhaps that's why the story continues captivating so many people. Because the ending has not been written yet. The future remains open. And according to many royal observers, the final chapter may belong not to kings, queens, commentators, or headlines, but to Archie and Lilibet themselves. What do you think? Do you agree with Angela Levin's concerns? Should Archie and Lilibet maintain a stronger connection with the royal family? Or do you believe Harry and Meghan are making the right choices for their children? And what role, if any, do you think Archie and Lilibet will play in the future of the royal family? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more royal news, breaking updates, and exclusive analysis involving Archie, Lilibet, Harry, Meghan, King Charles, Prince William, and the royal family. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.